Chapter 42, Newcomers. When Joe called roll next morning as we all lined up in our rows, over the original 110, and just as Mars foretold, we had a surplus of 4 new men. It sure surprised Figgins and Joe.
"To make sure," Joe began. "To make very sure,"
he said again.
"You've just signed on to a brotherhood of valiant, honest men. Commissioned by the courts of Spain, we sail the Mediterranean. Death to scum, our lawful goal, but duty-bound to the honest soul. We're bound to provide a merchant escort to guide him into port. Times, too, we're called to rescue sails and ships in distress. These are times when a trap or miscue puts you to a test. Our main objective on this ship is to guard the shipping lanes, bring the scoundrels all to justice."
With youthful vigor and quite robust, I yelled, "For the glory of Spain!" Half round me shouted, "Hey, for Spain!" But half,
"For Italy!"
or "For France!" Half the new recruits eyed me then askance. For this exuberant miscue, Cap stepped up to correct me. "Forgive my brash young nephew. I'll explain, men, if you let me. The Shark is commissioned to protect and guard and guide whomever. The flag we fly above our deck, and we fly it out of true respect, and to honor the country of endeavor. 2 weeks ago we took to task 3 pirate ships, all evil trash. So we rid the scum from that sea lane. We were off Sardinia, close to Corsica, and we were flying the flag of Spain. Then, just hours ago off Portofino, as you no doubt all who heard, we ran up the flag of Italy, fought those blackguards brilliantly, then purchased all that vino." Cap cried above the shoutings of "Hooray!" You drank it all, by the way. Amidst hearty laughs and "thank yous," Cap continued with my excuse. "The lad is right, to the glory of Spain, because 'tis Spain pays our wages. But for every merchant we set free, every shipwrecked sailor on the sea, yea, every pirate scum that bends the knee, means booty, too, for you and me, the reward for being courageous."
"To the glory of Spain!" cried one recruit. "Lads, 'tis our sacred duty."
Another cried midst
"Ayes, hoots, nay, 'tis to the Shark and courage and the booty."
Cap withdrew then to his quarters, while Joe continued with the crew, introduced the old to new, gave them all their orders. Among the new were craftsmen indeed. Henry, a carpenter, Gunther, a blacksmith, and a doctor named Sardi. Handy to have if the ship is in need. Joe put the first 2 to work forthwith, and the doc to help Aunt Harmy. Now, with the new, a splendid crew stood before the mate. New gunnery men for Figgins, some to Snell to mend the riggins, some for whate'er needed doing that Joe threw on his plate. Chapter 43, Another Test from Snell. Now the blacksmith and the carpenter, new members of the crew, they became good friends of mine. They were great additions, too. Blacksmith had a nickname, I guess, from the power in his arm. Called himself Hammer. That carried a bit of charm. So Snell thought it would be fitting if the carpenter had one, too. So Henry promptly became Nails, and that nickname stuck like glue. The two became like brothers, although they had just met. Find one, you'd find the other anywhere on deck. Now in the hold of the Shark was a storage area, a large section neath the bow. It lay just behind the gun ports that could be opened in the prow. Hadn't been swept clean for years, it would seem, and Harmy had missed it somehow. This particular storage hold was walled off from the guns. Dark, dank, smelly, cold, had never seen the sun. Tomb for ropes and cordage, barrels, the smaller, slack casks, along with the larger ones called the tons, canvas for sails, miscellaneous tails, even some old rusty guns, wood of different lengths and thickness, iron plate, copper, brass, bins of tins and rivets and nails. Arg, and the lot was teeming with rats. Now Quartermaster Snell came to the door and asked old Mars for me. Mars said, "Sure." I asked, "What for?" He said, "Ah, lad, you'll soon see." Snell then knocked on the cuddy door. Harmy said she was ready, while with Joe at the rail stood Hammer and Nails, waiting for just one more, our new doc, Sardinia. So we seven began a tour of ship from bow to stern. Hammer and Nails pointed out things that needed fixing. Nails was sawing in his mind, while Hammer, he was smithing. Doc Masardi, as we walked along, hadn't really spoken, almost as though he didn't belong. Or perhaps his heart was broken. I was analyzing this in my youthful mind when he asked, "Is there a hospital ward?" Aunt Harmy started, "Just a kind," and he interrupted, "We need one on board." "Now we're standing over the door to that hold," said Joe. "Good idea, the kind we're looking for. Harmy, go on with Snell and good doctor. Some more things he needs to be showed. Morgan, you and the others with me. We too have a few things to see." Then he opened the hatch to that darkness, turned round and smiled. "Follow me." A foul odor of mildew and dank. He lit up a torch, stood top of that gorge, then into the darkness he sank. So, Joe and I, Nails and Hammer, on a tour that ended right there. Dank, darkness, webs of spiders. "Set your tools here, anywhere." Oh, I'd explored the shark before, but this hatchway ne'er descended. Had traveled the steps 2 rungs, no more, when further desire had ended. "What, man?" cried Gunter, horrified. "Joe, 'tis crawling here with vermin." And turning to the carpenter, he cried, "Nails, our fate has been determined." "Yeah," cried Joe, "that I know. 'Tis rank, I must admit. But never mind, leave your tools behind. It's certain to be fit. I'll have Morgan here bring down some boys and clean it up a bit." "Me?" I started thinking. "Me? That's pretty stinking. I'm the 'prentice sailing master, and I have to clean up this disaster? 'Tis for this Joe brought me here? Now the tour is coming clear. Arg! Another test from Snell, I fear." But I said, "Sir! Yes, sir!" Oh, I looked for men with friendly faces, faces I recognized. I looked for men of social graces, men with smiling eyes. And then I thought, Morgan, use your head. Should I, as leader, take such care? Take the choicest of my peers? So in the end, I decided, that's not fair. So I explained the task ahead and asked for volunteers. They came from everywhere, it seemed. I split them up in 4s, ended with 3 separate teams. Each team worked 4 hours. First, we wrapped short bits of twine round our trouser legs and tied them. Rats are known, the dirty swine, to scramble up inside them. I instructed men with wooden pallets to throw some netting over the hatch for vermin crawling up the ladders, and it worked. They killed a batch. Thus prepared, then, we began. We first pulled out the heavy stuff, used a block and tackle. Then by hand, even though 'twas tough, we formed a human chain, brought up bags of rotten apples, spoiled dried peas and grain, brought up ropes and canvas, many lengths of wood, metal from the blackness, cleaned the whole place up well and good. Joe hollered down, "Morgan, what's the status?" "All that's left down here, Joe, not counting the 2 toolkits, that is a moldy smell. It's dark as hell. Oh, and 100 rats or so." That pit was quite a chore, but it was finally o'er. Worked through the night by lantern light, and every joint was sore. All the casks were good and tight, so we set them back all right. But the stuff they'd stored before we came aboard, it all went overboard. Why, it had been long forgotten. Bags of beans, peas, rice and grain, rotten apples, rotten cane, feces, maggots, truly rotten, until just the smell remained. I swore 'twould never take place again. Next morning, after setting our course, Mars and I were discussing the smell that came from out that hole. I said it was disgusting.
Vinegar!
Old Mars exclaimed.
One small cask should do. Grab one from the larder, lad. Come on, I'll go with you.
So we grabbed a torch and grabbed a cask, a bucket and a broom, filled the pail with vinegar, and whisked it round that room. Yes, by torch, we spread that vinegar. Could say we swept it clean. Working in that darkened chamber, we was laughing, crying even. Hands reached down to grab the brooms, the torch, the empty cask, the other things we'd left behind. Last night I was too tired to mind. 3 buckets full of rats. Old Mars, he looked like misery when he came out that hole. His clothes and boots were vinegary. Both our eyes and throats were swole. But we busted out with hearty laugh at our juvenile behavior. Ha! That memory will last and last. One that I'll long savor. That day I took my case to Captain, asked him how this error could have happened. That stores was so neglected on the Shark. He said, thanks for making her tidy. And he spat. Said, tomorrow's Friday. That was that. Imagine that. Case was closed. Exclamation mark. Now that hurt. Oh, yes, it did. Treat me like a little kid, and I felt a bit of boil flare up inside. I stammered, Sir, 'twas with great difficulty. We went well beyond our duty. Cap answered, Morgan, no one died. I walked out of Captain's cabin. My mind was still a-babbling, but another part of me said, just be still. Snell provided you a test, and Captain, he taught you a lesson. And you passed the test, and yes, you did it well. So armed with that, I spat. Chapter 44, Nails and Hammer. Hammer and Nails went to work immediately, even though the place was vinegary. On the cannon wall, they pounded pins to hang their tools and ropes. And to hang some 3-4 lanterns then, on the ceiling, they put hooks. To fill up all that cannon wall, almost to the floor, they used timbers, though not nearly all, and made shelving, at least 4. On the opposite wall, they built some bunks, for 2 more plus their own, under which they fashioned trunks. Tidy little home. Then, both sides of the stairway rungs, and on the outside wall, they built workbenches for each one. The space was getting small. Then, with that, they came up a while, after working just 5 hours. Nails said, Morgan, come see this little vinegar house of ours. Rosanna Lynn and I were just jabbering away. She said, I want to see it too. So we went down, looked around. The word astonished would apply. My goodness, Morgan, look, and it only took them half a day. Hammer beamed then at Rosanna Lynn. We'll have windows, lass, maybe even real glass, in our little vinegar cabin.